In today's video, we are revisiting what many people consider to be the GOAT of the F1 game series, yes, F1 2020, with a special feature from the Hanoi circuit that was never raced in Formula 1, but is in the official video game. With that being said, let's get straight to the grid and straight into the video. Here we go, F1 2020. Many people consider this to be the GOAT of the F1 game series, and I am pumped to be getting back on this track, on this game. Hanoi, of course, in Vietnam. This is the setup that we're going to be using for today's race, so if you do find yourself revisiting F1 2020 and Hanoi, then you can use this setup if you would like to, of course. Starting on the mediums, going to softs later on, and the fuel is going to be stock because I have no idea what to do with that, to be honest. But we are going to be getting 5 lights and lights out, and away we go. Seems the AI have taken the soft compound tyre, and we are going to be on the mediums to start with, and we're going to be looking around the outside of turn 1. That's going to get a bit... Okay, no, it's not going to get a bit tight. That is lovely jubbly. Thank you very much. Sound as a pound. Making up already up into P15. Going to try and get up the inside of Grosjean. 2 AI there done as well. Up to P13. This has been very lovely so far. In honesty, I have done quite a few laps to warm up on this game, on this track as well, because I found myself doing a bit of time trial. Seems like straight line speed is a bit atrocious. As we're going to get taken around the outside maybe. That's a bit embarrassing. But luckily, we was just about able to hold on to it, even with a bit of a Tokyo drift on the exit of the corner. Now side by side with Pierre Gasly. Something that I noted from that previous straight, seems like we're down on straight line speed a little bit, at least when we're not using the overtake button. Back to the point I was making originally though, I have done quite a few laps to warm up on time trial before this video, because I started driving the game and the circuit, and then drove it more than I thought I would have, quite simply because I was such enjoying myself, to be honest, as we're trying to go around the outside of the AI, actually over the outside curbing, and we did get a move down there with Norris. Let's quickly check that was valid, let's check that was legal, go to third person camera as we're going here. No, we should give that back to Norris, we should give that back. Go on Norris, beep beep. There we go. Okay, the position is back to Norris there, so we did not gain anything from going off the track and clumping over the outside curbings on that corner. ERS mode is much more simple on this year's game. You basically have the choice between medium or overtake button in the race, what I think is the best solution for a video game, in my opinion. I think it's nice having different ERS modes that you can play with, different ERS modes that you can sort of change the picture of your race to use an attack or defense, but in terms of just simplicity and just driving and enjoying the track, enjoying the game, I think this was the best solution. We went forward on the braking bias there to 51, instantly locked the front tyres, so I guess that was a mistake. Quite a bit of oversteer in the setup right now, and that is Apex missing central. We couldn't have missed that Apex by more if we tried. Of course, in modern Formula 1, DRS is automatically enabled on lap 2, but in 2020 days, you had to wait until lap 3. So going into the chicane right now, again, that was a bit horrible. You can really cut over those curbings a lot more, so we're going to be looking to improve on that going forward. Such a weird corner there, and it is such a weird track in general, but somehow it works. You know, like, it's a track that, on a map, it just sort of seems very strange, seems like it wouldn't flow well, but in the weird way, it does. It somehow finds itself to working, and it somehow becomes a very enjoyable track to drive. Enjoyable track to race on as well, as you had so many different options on the setup that you could sort of be using to go fast with. So you could either compromise your downforce and have amazing top speed, or you can have high downforce, low top speed, but be flying through this final sector as we're going through it right now. And this was really difficult. It's also quite difficult getting back used to 2020 spec regulations, because, of course, modern Formula 1 is all about the ground effect. It's all about heavy cars, but with a massive amount of downforce. Whereas, of course, these cars had so much downforce by themselves, but nothing really compared to the driving style of a ground effect Formula 1 car, and it really changes the way you trail brake into the corner. It changes the way that you're possibly sliding the car around the apex as well, and using the curbs. You can see we're jumping over these inside curbings right now. Maybe it would be the same in F1 24, Probably would be, in all honesty, but now we have got our DRS open, so it's going to be helping us a little bit, as we haven't really, well, we haven't made any progress forward in the previous laps. That's a bit better over the inside curbings. Jumping over them, the camera shaking like absolutely anything, giving the back of Norris a bit of a love tap there. And now we're going to be nice and close to be activating our overtake button. But you can see our straight line speed is rubbish. We're not going to be anywhere near him, but... Oh, we didn't even open DRS. Wrong button. So we had to use a bit of our overtake button there, but didn't really get any reward from it. Going to try and do a switchback here. Get a nice exit as Ocon and Vettel are battling, but we're not able to capitalize on that. Hopefully our tires get better as there's the grades, and it can give us the opportunity to move forward. We're bouncing over the curbing there, and that's what really made this track so difficult. We raced this in F1 Esports back in the day, of course now called F1 Sim Racing, and it was a really difficult track to nail because you just had so many options. This was a really nice overtaking spot though, and something that I really did like with this final sector, that if you were brave, if you were committed, then you could really find some opportunistic places to get the overtakes done, and you could start working your way through the field in a really efficient manner. But you had to be brave with that type of overtake, and you had to be strategical, and you had to catch the other car off guard. It wasn't always easy, of course, against the very best in the world on the game. Ocon's going slowly there. See, it feels a bit weird to see Ocon in a Renault. Almost forgot to open our DRS again there. Let's see if we can get past him into the corner. Going defensive. We're going to be right up against the inside here. Break at the 100-meter board. He's going to hang it around the outside maybe, but we're going to sort of take that position anyway. Thank you very much. Lovely jubbly. And now we're going to be getting an average exit, it seems. Hopefully we're still in the DRS of Sebastian Vettel. Let's see if we are. We should be 9 tenths away, so we should get it. But the activation... Well, he's not, because he's overtaking Ocon, mate. Anyway, getting back to the point. DRS is wide open, too far away from Vettel to capitalise on this lap, on this straight. But now we're starting to get into the feeling of running tyre temps, running tyre wear, and getting a bit better with my apex clipping points as we go into this race. I remember you always wanted to be jumping over that curb and using right up against the outside wall. We didn't really nail it on that lap, and then running through here was all about compromises. You actually had to have a much more smooth throttle and brake travel shape on this year's game comparing to modern Formula 1 games as well. It's really about being crystal smooth with... Is that even a saying? Crystal smooth? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if it is actually a saying or not. But you had to be really ultra smooth with your inputs on this year's game, and you couldn't afford to be doing extra snaps and slides. Whereas I found more in recent Formula 1 games anyway, you can not just speak about F1 24, but speaking also about like 23 even in some way. Whereas on this year's game, you really had to be quite smooth on the steering wheel. Maybe that's just my interpretation coming back, and I'm probably, well, not probably, I'm definitely not driving at the limit of how we used to do on F1 Esports. I just haven't practiced the game enough. I want to stay behind for the DRS activation zone. Come on, Vettel, beep, beep. Come on, get a whip. Sorry, Vettel. Sorry. But can I still have your DRS? Please? Please? Fingers crossed. Will I get the DRS? We do get the DRS. Sorry, Vettel. I know I just literally like drove into your side pod there, but very nice helmet. Cheers, buddy. Thanks for the position. Anyway, getting back to the point is, yeah, I'm probably not driving this game, or definitely not driving this game to the same limit that I used to do in F1 Esports, so it probably is shifting my opinion a little bit in terms of what's needed in terms of smoothness. But from what I remember of this game anyway, you had to be very, very smooth. And in modern Formula 1 games, you still have to be smooth. Ooh, that's a wall. Luckily, we didn't get damage. But there was definitely a necessity to be a... Ooh, that's almost a fall. There was definitely a necessity to be very, very smooth. And I can feel it even now. The smoother I am with my turn-in, it's sort of paying me back with lap time and a good feeling within the car. We're heading on to lap 6 of 14 here now. A large train of cars up ahead. A bit wide on my apex there. Skill issue. And now running through the right-handed. This was a really weird corner. Satisfying if you got it right. I think I need to be using less of my brake pedal though. because I can feel that when I'm using the brake pedal, it's putting too much load on the front axle and causing understeer within the car. So I definitely feel like I need to be better with my brake input. That was so heavy over the curb. There's an outside wall. Imagine being in the grandstands there. You could have got a beautiful sight of a Formula 1 car. Of course, unfortunately, we never actually raced at this track because of COVID and the lockdown restrictions. And then I think Vietnam never had the budget to properly reopen the circuit in the future. Never had proper money to get Formula 1 back into Vietnam. So that's unfortunate. It'd be nice to see them in Vietnam. I think that'd be a really nice place to go racing, or I think so as well, because I've never raced a Formula 1 car. So, I don't know actually what would be a nice place to go racing, but I presume it would be nice anyway, as we're going into the final sector. But yeah, what a track this would have been if it was actually to happen. Again, I don't think it would have made, in terms of overtaking, I don't think it would have made like the most exciting wheel-to-wheel racing in Formula 1's history. But in terms of actually making a bit of a chaos race, like Baku in its opening years, and still probably Baku to this day is a bit of a chaos race, I think it would have been very similar in that aspect, that you had the long straights, so it opened up a lot of opportunities, as we're now into our pit lap. What's a bit surprising, because no one else on the softs has boxed. So, it seems like the softs and mediums can go the same lap distance. Well, we don't even have flashbacks on, so I can't flashback it. Should we pretend like that didn't happen? Actually, no, we need to see it from Charles' point of view before we do that. Sorry, Charles. At least he gave us DRS. What a nice gentleman. I would say I feel bad, but I don't. But still, sorry, Charles. I've ruined your race from 2020. Shall we pretend like that didn't happen? Oh my god, that's really bad. The thing is, he's like dead last now by like 10 seconds, so he can't even like slow up and let him back past. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Unlucky, mate. Better luck on 2019 when I revisit that game. Maybe I won't take you out then. As now we actually do need to crack on with this race. So we are going to be coming into the pit lane this lap, and I have no idea. Well, I have a rough idea where the pit lane entry is, but I have no idea where the pit lane line is. Literally none. We also have to be a bit careful because maybe Bottas will come in. We're driving as Lewis today. Bottas doesn't come in. So let's get in. Oh, where's the pit lane light? Okay, we did get it slowed. We did get it slowed. Right, I think let's have a little debrief about that whole Charles situation. I'm sorry. I'm not that sorry, actually. Now we're going to be coming into the pit lane, putting on a fresh set of soft tyres. And I like this, to be honest. Not happy. Oh, we got held. Okay, maybe I don't like that. I was going to say I like that I don't have to do anything in the pit lane. It's quite refreshing. Just to chill, have a cup of tea, have a relax, have a biscuit, have a chocky bick, you know, like, and chocky biscuit. And now pit lane limiter is off. So actually Vettel's right behind us. Maybe he'll be seeking revenge for his teammate. So we need to get away from it ASAP. He's probably seen what I did to Charles. And he's out for revenge. Right, 2.2 seconds to Carlos Sainz. Lance Stroll up ahead. So we do need to get on with it a little bit in this race. And get through the chicane. There's still so much lap time on the... Okay, that's my second quarter cut warning. So I said there was so much lap time on the table, only for me to go over the table, over the limits, and get a track invalidation. One more of those, and it's a 3-second time penalty. And I don't want those. I probably deserve it after what I did to Charles. He is literally only now coming out of the first turn. Oh, bless him. Bless his little heart. We have got 1.4 seconds. So let's see what these tyres are about. Valtteri Bottas. Cheers, mate. Valtteri Bottas is in for his pit stop. And now we're going to go into the final sector. Purple middle. That is what we are talking about. Now, 1 second, the car ahead. Let's see what we can do in terms of getting my driving as close to the wall. The thing is, it doesn't actually look that close to the wall, but the wall sticks out a little bit there. So it is quite scary to get close to the limit there. Hello, Lance. Give me your position. That's a wall. Give me your position, please. Purple final 2 sectors of... Oh, he's fast on a straight line. That's my position, though. Thank you. Don't get a track invalidation. Oh, it's Perez. That is a dodgy pit exit if I've ever seen one. That is... Don't do what I did to Charles. Oh, my God. I almost hit the back of him. Because if I hit 2 of them, it wouldn't look like I'm doing this on purpose. But I promise you, I'm not. Oh, my God. Albert? Hello? That was impressive straight line speed, sir. But you are not having my position today. Right, up the inside. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beep, beep. Got to get a move on. Daniel Ricciardo is 4 seconds up the road. And I reckon we have an outside chance of catching him. But we have to be careful on our battery usage. We do. We do need to get up the inside of Perez here. And also not lose the position to Sainz. But even with DRS open, we're not gaining that much. But we are gaining enough. Okay, he's going to cover the inside. Late on the... I was going to say late on the brakes, but he went late on the brakes. Trying to go clean around the outside of the hairpin, though. That is simply lovely. 3.4 seconds to Danny Rick up ahead. Didn't do a purple middle sector somehow, even though we had the DRS wide open. But it is what it is. 3.6 seconds. Yeah, this is very... When you do get your driving technique right on this game, it is very satisfying, actually, to be going through these sections. F124 doesn't really have like a situation that you can be punished for adding too much steering lock. But on this game, I can already feel it that you can't add too much steering lock or it just induces a massive amount of understeer. And we got the fastest lap of the race. That's what we're talking about. There we go. So yeah, you really can't... You can't mess about that much on this game. You can't be doing bad habits, don't be an invalidation. Thank you. Yeah, you can't really be doing too many bad habits. And it is sort of like, in a nice and refreshing way, it's pushing you towards a driving style that suits the game, rather than like having a billion driving styles. Don't be an invalidation, please. Don't be an invalidation. Thank you. Normally, I find that if I say don't be an invalidation, the game is nicer to me and doesn't give you an invalidation. So we have got the gap down to 1.4 seconds. Unfortunately, Bottas is 7.6 seconds in the lead. I presume that is Max Verstappen in the actual race lead, who's about 10 seconds ahead of us. So, unlikely that we're going to be catching them today. But, you know, never give up and all that. All that jazz. It would have been nice if the incident that I made with Charles did make a safety car, though. That would have helped me out a lot. But even then, it would have looked even more baiting that I took him out, caused a safety car for me to win the race with. So yeah, probably good in some way that a safety car wasn't caused. Interested to see how these soft tyres are going to develop for the rest of this stint. That was much better than last lap. Oh, look at that. Oh, we didn't actually look like we was driving a clown car through the corner that time. That was much nicer. Should be a new fastest lap unless I mess it up on the final corner. And we don't. It is going to be a new fastest lap of the race of 36.5. 1.1 seconds to Danny Rick, when he was near enough in his prime. I do consider 2018 Danny Ricciardo's prime, in all honesty. We actually hit the apex there. That was quite nice. Oh, our forcey back had a little glitch there. To be honest, makes sense because the game is like almost 5 years old or 5 cycles old. And now going through the chicane. And now we're going to be all over the back end. But yeah, I do consider 2018 to be his prime. I do consider that to be his best year. And somehow, because of all the sort of mistakes, up and downs that's happening between Vettel and Lewis in the opening rounds, he did claw himself into championship contention. But sorry, mate, we're going to claw ourselves into podium contention here. Okay, maybe we're not. We have no straight line speed. Ignore that. We yeah, we definitely didn't hit another car in this race. Ignore that happened. Right, we need to get our head back in the game, man. We need to get our head back in the game. This is probably when I'm going to hit a wall in this first sector. First sector, final sector. I'm having head loss. Don't be only validation. Thank you, F1 game gods. That is lovely. That is not an invalidation. That has saved my bacon through the left-hander. Back onto the pit straight. And we are back in the same situation as we were facing last lap with old Danny Rick, or middle-aged Danny Rick, because he's not even 40 yet. And now going for the right hand and looking to try and hit the apex again. We just about did. Always going slow on the apex though. Don't want to do what we did to Charles Leclerc, but this time we're going to try and follow him much closer. We're gaining a lot of speed with the DRS. We're still so much extra fuel. Oh, we can go in rich mix. What? What? Why did I spend the whole race in standard not knowing I could be in rich mix? Oh, that's a shame. Right, we're going to put the engine in rich mix and see if that makes a difference down the straight. I forgot about that. I forgot that you could be changing your engine modes on this game. Right. Look how much easier it is to overtake. Well, we haven't overtaken him yet, but look how much more straight line speed we have. It's so good, it's even giving me voice cracks. He's going to fight us. We're going to leave him space on the inside. And we get the move diddly done. Right, let's see what we could do with this rich mix. Wow. So much power, I even got wheel spin that lap. Now that is what we're talking about. Go on, be a new fastest lap. Be a new fastest lap. I would love it to be a new fastest lap. Please. Okay, it's probably not going to be a fastest lap. We need to find a 10th. And we've understeered wide into the wall. No damage though, but we were fully committed for that fastest lap. 5.9 seconds to Valtteri Bottas. To be honest, very unlikely that we're going to catch him, but never say never. We're still going to push for it. Okay, that's probably going to be an invalidation. It wasn't an invalidation. We're finding a lot about the game on these last few laps. 2 seconds almost to Danny Rick. So maybe if we were running Rich Mix the whole time, we would have had a chance of catching Valtteri Bottas. 29% tire deck all around. Oh, had another glitch on the force back. It just cut out there and went numb. Well, not even just numb, it went to 0 on like the strength. Well, it was quite nice actually over the curbing, inadvertently. Already 2.1 seconds to Mr. Danny Rick as well in lap 13 or 14. Of course, the next lap will be the final lap. We'll just continue pushing, seeing what we can do to get the gap down to Valtteri Bottas. And yeah, just enjoying the game in all honesty. It's a very satisfying game to play. The coordination of the pedals, the wheel with the throttle makes sense, you know. It's something that when you're in the flow of it and you understand what's happening, then you can really be like understanding what will happen with the inputs, what should happen next, and it is very sort of like predictable is like too soft of a word for it, because you still have to like massage the car, otherwise it can be unpredictable for you. But providing that you do good inputs with your throttle, brake, steering, it rewards you, you know. And if you don't do good inputs, it kind of punishes you at the same time with a lack of lap time. So it's a really satisfying thing. It also takes a bit of time for getting used to. Coming from F1 24, that is kind of on the opposite scale of things. With the steering, you can kind of do what you want and almost get away with it in most situations. Up to almost 3 seconds to Daniel Ricciardo, as Valtteri Bottas is closing in on Max Verstappen for the race win, but probably a bit too late, too soon to be making something properly happen. Jumping over those curves, man. Those curves are massive. Feels a bit weird seeing advertising boards on the side of the track advertising 2020. It gives me a reminder of how like long ago this was, because yeah, I mean the graphics still look really good on the game. I'm not really someone who's too invested in graphics in a video game anyway, so as long as they sort of are sharp and there's a good detail to them, I don't really always see a difference between like a game from now and like a few years ago. So yeah, like it is just a very solid game as we go down to second gear there. Valtteri Bottas is under a second away from Max Verstappen right now, going through the final sector of the race. We've got the gap to 2.5 seconds, so I guess on this final lap, the AI do turn up the wick a little bit on this game, as we almost got an invalidation. Somehow we burned over half a lap of extra fuel just since finding out we can use Rick's Mix. But round the final corner, and that is Hanoi back on the F1 video circuit grind. I don't know what to call it, but F1 2020 is done and dusted. P3 in the race as Lewis Hamilton and driver of the day. Thank you very much. That's gonna go on my trophy cabinet, that will. So there we go. That's the result of the race. We did pick up fastest lap by a few tenths over Mr. Max Verstappen. Looking over the grid right now, it's actually just quite interesting to see the names and the faces and the teams and who was correlated with who back in the day. Of course, BWT Racing Point, as well AlphaTauri, Daniel Kvyat, Roman Grosjean, Giovinazzi, Nicholas Latifi. You know, it's quite interesting to be looking back at the names who it just was not that long ago, but it feels like quite a long time ago now. But yeah, that is F1 2020. People consider this game to be the GOAT of the F1 game series. I rate it very highly indeed. So yeah, on to the next one. So there we have it, F1 2020 revisited, concluded and wrapped up. Again, special sorry to Charles Leclerc for absolutely punting him into a wall. My bad. Sorry. Maybe my face does not look that serious for an apology right now. But getting back to the point of the outro, thank you so much for watching the video. F1 2019 is up next, and I'm very, very excited to get back to that game. I've been Brendon Leigh. Catch you in the next video. Grazie Vizazzi. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.